Welcome everyone to the Black Bull Markets webinar. We're live from Auckland, New Zealand. It's actually the 10th of May here, 2023. We're just due to launch in a couple of minutes. And hopefully everyone can see me okay and hear me okay. So if you cannot see me or cannot hear me, please do make yourself known now in the chat room or the questions room, and it'll be of great help so we can just start streamlining, getting things going. Assuming we have no chats or questions, we'll kick off in a couple of minutes. Just to give everyone a bit of an overview as to what we're presenting here. We are looking at the copy trading system today. This is the Black Bull copy trader system. We're going to be talking about how to look for providers, how to register as a provider, how to register as a subscriber, and how to also choose a provider strategy. So just as a bit of a background information as to what copy trading is, or I guess essentially what it's used for is really for traders looking at not quite, if you're a subscriber on one side, not quite, I guess, having the confidence to place trades yourself, or perhaps wanting to try something different, or even looking at diversifying your portfolio of accounts. So for example, you could have 2 accounts set up in your secure client area, of which one account is dedicated for your own personal trading. Another account potentially could be for subscribing into a provider strategy, and alternatively, as an addition to all of that, you can have multiple accounts in your client area and perhaps have different subscriptions to different strategies. So for example, if you want to test a few provider strategies, you could in theory apply to be a subscriber across multiple strategies and test out what strategies work best for you. The beauty of copy trading, of which we will see through this webinar as a subscriber, is that literally the trades from the provider are copied onto your account. So essentially you can get access to live trades in real time for what and when providers place a trade. Now, providers can choose to hide certain parameters to prevent you from totally copying their strategy or perhaps abusing it somehow. However, when a trade comes to your account, you see the open price and also the asset they're trading, of course. And in addition to that, the provider can choose to either hide or show you their stop loss level. So that all being said is then rounded with the fact that you can choose your own risk parameters. And this is something we'll get to in our example as we create a subscriber strategy. So what I have in front of me is our secure client area. If you're not a client of Black Bull Markets, at this stage, you won't be able to see this page. So the suggestion is, if you want to follow me during this webinar or at any stage of watching this video, is to quickly register for an application, get approved, so you can actually follow the guidance, or perhaps just follow what I'm doing here just as an idea. However, if you are an account holder of Black Bull Markets, if you've used it in the past, not used it in a while, it's probably an interesting webinar for yourself to try and pick up on from where you left off, just in terms of getting back into the markets, getting exposure into markets, etc. So this is the accounts tab. You can see I have a single MT4 account here. Just at the note from the very beginning, we are connected with both MT4 and MT5. So you can individually connect an MT4 account or an MT5 into the copy trading platform. Now, The only thing you can't do at this stage is copy from an MT4 to an MT5 account. That is a development that we're working on internally. Once that is launched, then that would give you the ability to do a cross-platform connector. So starting at the top, our accounts tab. So we've created our account. And now what we can see is in our secure client area, copy trading is on the left-hand side menu. So beneath trading tools, where it was previously located, is now has its own dedicated section. As soon as you copy trading, you're presented with two tabs. One is the ratings module and the other is the portal. Now, within the ratings module, you can then see a real-time outlook on all the provider strategies that are on the trading platform. So, for example, it's important to note the way these are ranked is dependent on a rating, and that rating is determined on several factors, which we will get into through the analytics of it. But ultimately, it looks at how long the strategy has been running for and the profitability of that strategy across a period of time. So, for example, if we click at the top rated strategy at the moment, this Pro FX version 11, as soon as you click through it, you get a bit of a better idea as to the strategy and what it entails through this summary here. So this is essentially what the strategy premise is about. And all of these ratios, the Sharpe ratio, the volatility ratio, recovery factor, max profit, etc., all contribute to the overall ratings figure that you see, which determines, of course, the overall rating. This particular strategy, of course, being number one, is superiorly heads and shoulders above the others in terms of its profitability. So what we can see is that it's been an important thing to look at. How long has it been trading for? We see 289 days. It's just over a year. So that looks pretty good. So look, if you're interested in a strategy like this, we're going to talk about the steps in which you can take to join it. And then you can see, of course, we just keep talking a bit more about the statistics. You can see return during the period. Now, as a subscriber, what you should be looking for are the following, right? Of course, you have a huge max profit percentage over the course of this strategy. Now, it's important to note that this may not be something that you'll see very often, because trading to gain hundreds of % within a 6-month period is not very realistic, and it doesn't happen very often. So it's important to see, hey, look, this is great profits on this strategy, but how about the drawdown? Well, let's look at the figures below. So if we go down to the return, we can see the overall return curve, and it looks pretty positive since the start of the strategy back in September 22. Similarly, again, we can see monthly performance as well. You had one bad month of 20%. So that looks like what your maximum risk at any time would be on this strategy. So according to the past figures, 20% was the max loss on this strategy. If I dig a bit deeper, you can actually switch between the tabs here. From return, we can hit trading, and we can look again more into the return and leverage comparison charts, and to see how much risk the strategy is using. We can see it's a lot less than what it was back in September, and that's based on how much percentage of the leverage the strategy is using. So it looks like the strategy's picked up more equity and therefore able to perform similar fashion by using less risk. These are the assets it trades. Just as an example on here, looks like a diverse range of FX assets. We go down to the trade statistics. Now this is where it gets interesting. Best trade, $110. Worst trade, 56. So it's operating around a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of best trade to worst trade. So trades won to trades lost. Again, we've got a good positive ratio here. Total profit on the account is $719. Now remember, that's on the provider account. So if you had a $100,000 account, for example, you can still replicate every single trade. This very small account or respectively smaller account trades and still replicate the profitability using your own risk parameters, either via an auto scale allocation or a fixed scale allocation. You can see how long they hold a trade for, etc. Okay, so I mean, look, there's a reason it's ranked number one. So through this example, what we're going to do is copy the strategy. And as we click copy, we're taken to a user portal. This user portal will then prompt a registration. So through the registration process, this is what's important to note, is that you have a 50% performance fee per trade. So, hey, even though you're making great money, there is definitely a cost to it attached to this, right? So you got more information here. This is a default provider configuration for all providers looking at sharing profits and trades. Okay, it looks like he hasn't updated the details on that, but essentially this is the important part, 50% per trade. That's what is the cost, I guess, to attach yourself. By the way, if you're following this in real time, thank you very much. Please do post your questions in real time, and we can answer them, because if you're thinking it, I'm sure others are thinking it as well. Right, how to connect our account. So let's go back to accounts and let's identify our account number and let's connect up. So we go to server MT4 live because we have an MT4 account. Our account number is 2100101 in this example. We'll just quickly get through that. And here is I enter my trading account password. So that's the password set on your trading account. If you do not know your password or you wish to reset your password, you can simply hit that button there and that prompts a new password. Reset or setting. Provider. Now, this is where you choose the provider. And in this case, we are going to choose Pro VX version 11, the 60th provider. And that's the offer. It's the title of the offer, means that's the performance fee that you're agreeing to. You hit register, and then you'll come into a portal where you can set up your subscription settings. Now, this is very important because this is where you put your risk parameters in, and the risk parameters is what is one of the key USPs of the Black Wall Markets Copy Trader for subscribers. And we'll go through this as to why. So if you hit OK on this screen, what we're going to do is, first thing first, is look at the different scaling options. Now, as you open up your subscription strategy, you'll see there's 4 different types of scaling options. Now, auto scale essentially acts as a sort of allocation method depending on your equity level. For example, I've got a 25 grand account here that I'm copying with. The provider probably, as an example, has a $1,000 account. If the provider trades 0.01 lots as a position, I will get an equal position 25 times my account as the comparative value. So that means I will get a 0.25 trade placed on my account for that same trade. So that's the original volume, as it says here, equal to the ratio of the followers and providers compared values. So that's what the auto scale is based on, ratio multiplier. Now, this is where you can copy a trade 1 for 1. So, for example, if the trade strategy provider places a 1-lot position, you can have a volume multiplier at 1 to 1. If you're more on the risk aversion side, you could perhaps start with 0.5%. So that means, hey, he trades 1 lot, I'm only going to trade 0.5 lots. How do you determine the trade size of the provider? Good question. Well, if we go back to where we were, to the copy trading, and we're going to go back into that strategy Pro VX to look at the trade statistics. And we're going to go hit trading here, and what we can see of course, are the trade statistics, instruments. Equity is the one we want. Here we go. So equity will give you an idea, of course, of the equity curve. Apologies. Instruments. So as you can see, the average trade size is right here. So the average trade size on this strategy is 0.05. And of course, the provider looks to be that they're trading off, about a couple of $1,000 on their account. Still performing well. So, you know what? I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to start with a 1-for-1. Now, if you were more on the risk positive side and, a bit more out there, risk on, you might want to set this at 2%. That will essentially double the trade size the provider places on your account. You know what? We're pretty risk on. We're going to go 2 times the trade size. We hit save changes here. Before we do this, let's just look at the other volume scaling options. So we've got multiplier, which I think we've been through in depth. Fixed. Now, for example, provider trade 0.05. Regardless of the provider's trade, I will always trade 1 lot every single time. This is what the fixed allocation method means. So I could do that. Lots proportion. Now, again, this is similar to auto scale. However, you can gear it either towards your balance or your equity. And what's the difference between your balance and your equity? Well, your balance is the holistic amount of your account. Your equity is the holistic amount of your account minus any floating open positions you might have. So if you are trading on your own account and you wish to run a copy trader simultaneously, you can choose this allocation model. That's probably what it's mainly meant for on the equity side. Look, on my side, I'm going to go fixed and I'm going to go 1 lot. Keep it simple. Every time they trade, regardless of their trade size, we're going to trade 1 lot. Job done. Now, let's keep going down the subscription settings. It's very important that we tick every single box before subscribing. Max open volume. Of course, we're trading only 1 lot as a fixed allocation model. However, if you were on a multiplier, for example, or if you were on a if you were on the auto scale allocation model, this is where it could get interesting. So, hey, for example, if my trade triggers a rule which says you're hitting 11 lots, no, I'm not going to hit that trade because my max open volume is 10 lots. Action. What am I going to do? I'm going to scale down to 10 lots. Okay. So that means essentially, if the rules on the subscription profile means that a trade larger than 10 lots would have been placed on the account, the system will scale it down to a 10 lot trade. You could either choose to skip it or scale it down. Another final risk management parameter to set: total loss, total profit, floating loss. I'm not too sure of many people that will use total profit, to be honest, because, you're in this game to make as much money as you want. I don't know if you should be limiting that, but hey, total loss. This means this is my threshold as a single value of my balance that I'm willing to risk before a close action or a pause action is made. For example, I've got 25 grand in this account that I'm following this provider strategy with. But to be honest with you, in reality, I'm not willing to risk more than, let's say, 20% of the account. So I'll put $20,000 here. What that means is my maximum risk is $5,000 following this strategy. So what happens if there is a drawdown? Well, I'm going to suspend myself from the strategy. I'm not going to unsubscribe because I want to revisit it at that stage. What's going to happen with all those trades? Well, you know what? We're going to close them all. You can either choose to keep all, close all, or close just the ones in a loss. At that stage, that's my max risk tolerance. I'm done. 20%, I'm out. that, ladies and gentlemen, is the beauty of the subscription profile settings. Now, to activate, do we want to copy the new positions? We're going to leave the new positions for now. We're going to activate the profile. And, as an example, let's copy them over. Okay. So we're in. Subscription has been updated. We're actively following the strategy of this particular strategy, Pro FX V11 on the Blackball Markets copy trader platform. And now I'm going to open up my MetaTrader platform. And this is where you can track trades that are being placed on the MetaTrader 4 or 5, whichever platform you choose. Right. If you just give us a second, I will share my MetaTrader platform with you. So I'm in the MetaTrader platform. Look, we cannot predict when a trade will be placed. However, when trades do get placed on the provider account, it will be automatically triggered and placed here. So that is essentially the subscription created. Now, on the flip side, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the provider strategy. How does a provider strategy work? If I'm on the other side, and what are the advantages for us as a provider to provide a strategy and invite subscribers? So we'll get started with that. Again, if you do have questions at any time, please do let me know. While we do this, right, back on the subscription profile. So, okay, now, if I, as a subscriber, of course, having trades placed, in theory, you'd see a trading profit here, you'd see a number of copied positions that you place, and the amount of fees that you've paid as well. So what we're going to do is now we're going to unsubscribe from the strategy, and we're going to transform this subscription account into a provider account. So here we go. We're unsubscribing. We're out of the subscription, and we're going to create a provider account. How do we do that? Well, if we go to back to our secure client area, we hit social trading portal. We'll get access to the social trading portal, and just let that load. I'm gonna try another way. Going back to our user portal, here we are. So, look, it's probably just a small issue here. Go back into the Blackball Copy Trader client portal. This is essentially where we would have ended up. What we need to do at this stage is look at registering as a provider. Now, what is a provider? A provider is someone that is looking to trade and thinks they're pretty good at trading, wants to share their strategy with others for them to copy, and in return charge a performance fee for that activity. So that's how we set it up. Similar to the subscriber registration, we enter all of our login credentials, and if we just go back to accounts, we can successfully find what our account details are. Just do a copy and paste here. And the nickname, we're going to, on this occasion, I'm just going to call it Niche Provider Webinar. All right, and we're going to register. Now we will come through to a provider registration form. So similar to what we were as a subscriber, we've got a provider registration. where do we start? Well, the important thing to start is looking at the name of your strategy, because that's what's going to be publicly displayed if you choose to have it publicly displayed, of course. Now, a summary of your strategy. So, I'm going to call this strategy momentum. Oh, how about this one? Positive momentum trender, or trend play. All right, that's pretty much what I do as a strategy. So, like trading MA crosses, looking at long-term trends, buying pullbacks, or selling highs. Mainly trade 7 key FX pairs and gold. This preview is something that will be displayed to the public audience. So it's important that you put as much information there as possible. Now, if we keep going down the strategy profile, we can choose whether to hide or share your stop loss. So in this case, we're going to hide it. What does that mean? Well, what that means is people who copy your strategy won't be able to see where your stops are. Again, it just adds a layer of privacy. Finance account. So this is the account which is going to be my actual trading account in which I receive my performance fee. You can choose to add a new account that's from your own portal. If you wanted to do that, you simply click this button here, and then that takes you through a process of creating a fee receiver account. Now, an offer. So this is going to be a very pretty interesting. Excuse me. This is the most interesting part of provider strategy. What this means is this is where I set up my performance fee, essentially. So my offer is I want to get paid on a monthly basis. So monthly profit share scheme, because I generally hold for a couple of days, for example. It's going to be publicly visible. I'm going to charge a reasonable 20% performance fee. Now, these are the intervals you can choose to access as a provider, per trade, daily, weekly, monthly. There are annually, quarterly options as well. If you're interested in those, just contact us. Okay, so now we're pretty much set up. The remaining options are these filters. So this shows, hey, a minimum balance. So that first example we saw as registering for a subscriber, there was no minimum restriction. But in my example, I'm for $1,000 because I believe that you need a little bit of a balance in there, and I want to secure a bit of income for myself as well. If I'm making 20% of my own personal account, other people are copying that. It doesn't make sense for us very, very small accounts to copy it when you don't make much. So that's something commercially for you to decide on as a provider. Public agent. So that is if someone was to introduce your strategy to someone else, you can set them up as an agent code and share with that particular person a fee of your performance fee. Similar with adding additional agent. Now, here's an interesting one right here. You can actually set up an offer link. Now, what's an offer link? Well, an offer link is a special link that you can provide to, say, social media platforms or people that you're wanting to join your strategy on a private basis who do not derive from the public platform. So this is join a niche strategy as an example. And what that does is it creates you with a hyperlink. You can set an expiration, you can add an agent to it, but that creates you a URL, hyperlink URL. And that URL can be found just here. What does that URL do? Well, that URL essentially points you, as you can see here in the URL key, straight for subscribers into your strategy. And as you can see, it's brought up. If I was to provide that to a subscriber, that's what it would bring up. They would need to have an account, of course, with Blackball Markets to be a subscriber. Then they can connect to my strategy as a provider as I've shared them this strategy. Hope that makes sense. Cool. Going back to my profile, save those changes, and now we're ready to go. So we're going to finally run through an example of how this all works. Okay, so now my MT4 account is a provider strategy, and it's publicly available on the Black Bull Markets copy trader platform if you follow it. So now I'm going to go back into my client profile, and I'm going to create another account, which is going to be a subscriber account that's going to connect into the provider account that I've just made. So let's just create an account very quickly, and it's very simple actually. It's pretty good. Just to quickly create an account here. So we're just going to go standard settings, 500 to 1 dollar currency, and voila, you have a new account. Now, if I what I'm going to do is just quickly in the back end funds into the account. Doesn't seem to work. What we're going to do, alternatively, we're going to actually just transfer funds. So we've got 25 grand in the first MT4 account, and this is how you transfer funds from one account to another, by the way. So we're going to hit internal transfer, and that's going to load up back our internal transfer option, where I can now transfer money from a trading account, from my account with 25 grand in, to another trading account with 0 money in, and we're going to just put 10 grand in there. And it gives you a confirmation. You hit confirm transfers, and that amount is then transferred. So if we go back to our accounts tab, we can now see that I've got 15 in one and 10 in another. Fantastic. Okay, so before we get started with the next step, just going to change the password here. That will allow me to create a new subscription profile. Done. Great. Now, what do? Well, what we do is we go back into the copy trading function here, and we're going to actually, we're going to look for my strategies. There is a nice button here where you can say, oh, there I am already, a niche provider webinar. That's the provider strategy we've just created. Of course, no trading history at the moment, right? Of course, there's been no trade, so you won't be able to see anything. However, if there was a trade, you would see it in real time. We're going to hit copy. We're creating a new subscription, with this provider webinar, which is, of course, the provider name in this example. So we've got our account, and it's, of course, got to log out first because it was previously logged in. The other one. This is our new account that we've created, and got a bit of an issue with the password. Let's just reset that again. Hope everyone is still following me there. It's we're not too much longer to go, but hopefully it's been valuable. We're just going through really just a final example of how it works. Right. I know why. You got to register as a follower. Okay. So first things first. Trading account. Trading password. We select our provider. The last one there. And I can see here the description, the summary, the offer, and all my terms attached to the provider strategy before I join. I meet all of them. I'm happy with them. I'm going to hit register. Bang. I'm in. Now, of course, as we did at the very beginning, let's go in to our settings. So in this example, we've got 1 for 1. We're going to go 1 for 1. No problem. That means 1 for 1 with their trade in terms of copying. In terms of risk parameters, again, I've got 10 grand in the account. I don't want to lose more than $1,000. Subscription action, suspend. We're going to close all positions. Been through this, of course, at the beginning stages of the webinar. I'm in. Now, of course, there's no trades on the provider account, so I haven't placed any. But what we're going to do is we're going to activate the subscription. And we're going to just, doesn't matter if there's none, but we're activated. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place some trades. Right, let's get the exciting part, of course, save right to the end. So this is the provider account, okay? What we're going to do, we've got gold. You know what, just as an example, we're going to go and we're going to buy 1 lot of gold. 1 lot of gold placed on the account 101621, which is my provider account. We're in the trade, fantastic. Of course, gold's on a bit of a tear to the upside at the moment, so hopefully we get some profit from this example. Now, simultaneously, if I was looking at activating my subscriber account, what I'll do is hit, well, you can actually do this from a navigator function, which is probably the easiest one, right? And you want to open an account. You're going to hit existing trade account. That existing trade account, of course, will be the trading account that is the subscriber account in this case. So we're going to just switch, in this example, from provider to subscriber. And as you can see, trade is copied 1 for 1. Perfect. There it is. So that's the subscriber account, 10 grand in it. Now what I'm going to go back to the provider account, where of course, in reality, you might not want to be doing this, but you can in the same profile. I close the trade now, $31 loss. Whoops. Go back to the subscriber account, and of course that's $31 there, and it's lost here as well. So you can see that in real time. There's a comment on the subscriber which says a copy, and that number there is the trade ID. So I think we've covered everything. Also as an example, because that trade's now been closed, right? These statistics here will all update shortly with the amount of positions that are copied over, the fees that you've paid, of course, and the total value of your profit. So that takes a few minutes to copy over. Cool. Hope that helps with everyone who's watching the show. Thank you for very much for your time during the last 35 minutes or 40 minutes, how long ever we've been presenting for. If you do have any questions, we'll just keep the floor open for some questions in the next couple of minutes. So please do ask away. Just going back on that market commentary side, personally, it was interesting to see gold continue to rally and, of course, correct a lot of its brief losses from Friday. So definitely 2080 again, that all-time high is looking vulnerable to the upside. Be interested to see what happens. Anyways, looks like there aren't any questions at this stage. So thank you very much for attending. Wish you all a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you're located in the world. This video will be posted on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it again and again, just to familiarize yourself with the platform best. And again, all the best of luck with your trading. Bye.